So we will read. Melvin, you may want to read for us today. Start there.
Okay. How to ensure your success. Mission. The first thing you have to be clear about is your mission in life. That becomes your seed, the seed you want to plant to grow into a tree. Perhaps an oak tree that will last beyond your lifetime. All of us, as we have learned, have a mission in life. This is the very reason we were born. The moment we identify this, we can build on it. It becomes our main objective in leadership. Suppose your life purpose is to enhance education. Then you may champion for better education system. Establish something that will be beneficial for generations to come. If your line has to do with building a democratic space for your country, it should be in such a way that whenever books of history are written, your name is always indicated for the good you did. Therefore, the first and most important step in leaving a legacy is to identify something, an agenda you are very passionate about, something you stand for and can die for. That, therefore, can become a good point for establishing your legacy. Think about Jesus dying on the cross for the mission of salvation. Sharing your vision. It is not easy to grow a movement if you do not share your vision and get some people who believe in it to join you. Even in building companies or other organizations, the dream and vision has to be shared and a team established. That vision is what will inspire people and make them willing and ready to follow you. They will commit to your cause and defend you with their blood if they believe in what you envision. This is why John Maxwell says that a good leader will be followed, even if he is taking people to a death trap. A good leader, in this case, is one who has sold his vision to his people, and the people wholeheartedly believe in the vision. Consider self-preparation. If you look at some establishments like the Nobel Prize, you realize that it is self-sustaining and shall probably go on till the end of the world. It was the design of Nobel himself. All of us can see what it has done to the world. Thinking long term, thinking about your established projects, self-sustaining and living beyond your lifetime is a fantastic way to create a legacy. Daily agenda. Make it a daily habit, a daily agenda to literally live the kind of values you want to leave for the world. Every leader should strive to leave a legacy. Anyone thinking contrary to this is not supposed to be a leader. Your legacy should be one that impacts positively on many lives. Then you will have lived a successful life. Build others. A leader must aim at building other leaders around him or her to become even better leaders than he or she is. These are the people who will determine the stability of your leadership and extend your legacy.
Thank you very much. That is it. That is it. There are just 5 areas. That is mission, vision, self-perpetuation, daily habits, and building other people. So those are some of the areas we want to reflect on this morning. And let's open it up People can share their insights. What's inspired you? What thought has crossed your mind? Yes, let's go on. It's open. Who is going first? Wants to share something?
What I can say is the daily habits, your daily habits and your daily agenda, which should be to live out the values that you have, despite the usual things of having a to-do list. Are you putting your values into those daily tasks and activities? That's what really stood out for me. Now that I've started, others can follow.
Yeah. You see, what we forget when we are working on our activities every day is our identity. And those values determine, those values form what our identity is. And if we forget, we will deviate. We will start being somebody else. And by the end of the day, it ruins our legacy. So the daily habits, when we are planning ourselves, when we are making decisions every day in our leadership positions or whichever place we find ourselves in, that is us. It's writing a chapter, it's writing a section in a chapter in our book of life. So the question is, do we have this in mind, and what do we do about it? What is it that we are doing about our daily habits? Are we intentional about building our legacy, about the life that we are living, that it's actually contributing into our eulogy? Yes, whatever will be read when you're gone, and even when people come for your memorial. I remember when we started talking about mission, the very first parts of this book, and we were talking about people coming to your memorial, and you can listen to them and hear what they are saying. What is this? What is it that you want to hear them talk about you? Thank you very much for opening the discussion. Yes, somebody else, crystal clear. Pastor Sarah, what would you say? I know this is something that is in your heart.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, I would want to share on that part of vision where you said that, you have to share, you should share your vision. And I think that before one shares, you have to have conceived it. You have to have seen it. Otherwise, you might share with some people and they shoot it down. And if you're not strong enough in your resolve to carry through whatever, or you're not determined to bring it to pass, then you might as well lose your focus and totally even get derailed, and even maybe altogether stop whatever it is that you had, you are geared to do. So it's important for us, to really internalize and have that vision internally before even you are able now to actually actualize it, to see it happening in the, in the natural. Yeah, that's my take on that.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, in this chapter, last chapter is actually the last chapter of our book. We only have a small section left, that is writing your epitaph, which we can do next week and close this book for a time. We discussed about vision, and we all have heard that people perish due to lack of vision. Even people who survived the concentration camps, the Holocaust, it's because they had something in them that kept them feeling that they are not yet done. They still had some vision. And in any survival under the sun, a human being is going to survive because of that clear picture that they have about themselves, about something that they're yet to establish. And I often joke about this, but it's true that the moment we feel we are done, we do not have anything left for us to accomplish, we die. It's true, you can always look around. When Miles Monroe said that he's empty, he went, you see, and people who said that actually go. So this vision thing is quite important, and it is what will keep us standing up even when we fall, because we will fall. And as you've rightly said, Pastor Sarah, people will discourage us. We used to call these sneers. People will sneer at you, will say all sorts of things about what you say. I remember when I talked about myself going to the university, yeah, and yet I was not even going to school at that point. And people felt like that is absurd, that's madness. Yeah, nobody leaves this place to go back to school. And that place was fishing, you see. And enough of them are still there. And that made the difference. I had the vision. They had no vision. So we must be used to sneers, people who will discourage us. And we say, you must have guts when you have the vision. You get used to sneers. That's the acronym for guts, they say. Get used to sneers. And along the way, the word sneers change to success. You start getting used to success. Things become more exciting because people believe in your vision when they start seeing it being realized. And then they say, wow, I knew you could do it. At the start, they don't think you can, you don't have what it takes. Along the way, they say, well, seems like you may just make it, but it's not as important. At the last stage, they say, I knew it all along that you had what it takes, that you could do it. So that is very profound. Thank you very much. Yes, somebody else can share. Somebody else can share which section they picked. Yeah, people who are just coming in, we were reading about some of the things that ensure that we establish a strong legacy. And we've discussed, we've talked, we've read. Yeah, we are now discussing. We've read about the mission. We've read about vision, sharing the vision, and we just said we've got to conceive it first. We've talked about self-perpetuation, daily habits, and building other people. Anthony Muridi, share with us something.
Yeah, thank you very much, VP. A very profound chapter indeed, touching through a lot of good stuff. Legacy, and especially on that part of sharing the mission is becomes, especially in organizations and companies. And for like some of us who are trying to start, I don't know what to call them, startups, but you know, so to do some business and we have some employees. I think that's the biggest challenge of rallying the staff to share the vision. Let me share our own my own experience with my wife is that we want to establish organization to grow to a big organization, and our mission has always, we want when the staff come in, our motto is say we come to grow together. How is it that as we are growing, we also help them achieve their their dreams, because the truth be told, they will not be in our organization forever. So you ask them, what would you, or in 5 years time, where are you seeing yourself? So whenever we are we want to whenever we are discussing with them and whenever we are engaging with them, we want to show them how by partnering or working with us, they're also going to be able to achieve their dream, or whatever their goal is. And, and now that's the hardest, because for us, of course, in addition to whatever else we have, we want to achieve our mission, which is growing organization. But for them, that is our motivating factor, of course. And in growing that, then we also want to, when the organization grows, of course, the revenues go high. But then for them, their motivating factor is money. So they are not really, their motivation is not the vision. Their motivating factor is the money, the money that they are paid. So whenever, for example, they misbehave and you touch on their pay, they become very, very, they become very rude, or they become very uncontrollable. Because for them, so we have realized that their motivation is money, while maybe our motivation is something bigger. So I know that's a very tricky bit of how do you rally these people who share different motivations to move in the same direction. But I think that through these talks, I've been able to learn. But that's one thing that I wanted to point out, that in organizations, remember that each one of the people there, they are motivated by different things. But then as the owner of the organization or of the system, the bigger vision. How do you now ensure that everybody rallies behind it and we move together? Maybe a question could also maybe give some insight. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anthony. Very interesting question. One thing I love to share with people when we are talking about building organizations, I love to ask, what is the mission? Because mission is the problem that we are solving. And personal mission can graduate to be an organizational mission. You see, for example, my organization, Live Your Dream, is to equip people with simple practicable skills that enable them to be able to live their dreams. Yes, to equip and inspire people to live their dreams. And with that, as long as we are doing it, and we have a vision about that, we want to touch millions of lives by 2030, the means come in. Money will take care of itself. The first step in building an organization is to establish the problem we are solving, and that becomes our mission. When we are building an organization, we reach a level where we start where we are the team. I am the team. But then now I bring in people into the team. Maybe now my partner, my wife, maybe some other people coming in one at a time, as need requires. And they build into this particular mission. And vision becomes where we want to be. I've learned from various leaders that when we are recruiting, and this one you also know, when we are recruiting, we need to recruit people who we will recruit people, but also sharing with them this vision. Some of them will pick this vision. And when they pick it, they can help it grow even much better than we could do it on ourselves. And I remember, I think that was 2011 or something, or 2012, when we went for this convention in Cape Town, and Bill Beans was talking. Bill Beans, or some people call him Billy Beans. Bill Beans is a big speaker. He's a renowned guy. He was giving us a talk, and he was talking about how he brought the Golden Company into Africa, which would then be called GNLD later. That they attended a talk, a presentation by the founder, and the founder was sharing the vision and saying, at one point, not so distant from now, this organization is going to be global. It's going to be all over the world. And this was in 1960s, late 1960s in the US. But then that inspired him, that he felt like if he's got to be part of this global movement. And when he went to share this idea of spreading it with his mom, the mom discouraged him. Yeah, he said, I want to go to Africa and start this company. And the mom, with all the love and care, told him, why do you want to go to Africa? That's a very hard place to go. It's a hostile place. You're going to die in Africa. But he never listened and chose to come to Africa together with a friend of his. I don't remember his name. And they went to South Africa and they started talking to people from the airport. And after so many months of labor, they were able to open an office and a warehouse and bring in products. And today, the organization is all over Africa. And then he went to Australia and did the same. So sharing the vision with people can be very important. Some of them, remember, it's not for everybody. Like we were discussing with Melvin at the start. Some will, some won't, so what? So we will get the right people who want to move with this particular dream, and that will be able to explode our organizations. It's only that sometimes we are impatient. Yeah, like I was saying before, there is that law of process. We can be impatient. We can go to the plants in the garden and say, plants grow, 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 grow faster because debtors are on my neck. But we need to understand that there is the law of process. The other day I was talking to university students and I was telling them that there must be a process. You cannot conceive today and get a baby tomorrow. You need 9 months or thereabout. So the same thing happens in every other thing. When we plant trees, when we plant something, we will give it time to grow. So in recruiting, we are going to have such challenges. We are going to get people whose motivation is different, but through development, and I love the way you said about building them, sharing with them where they see themselves. You can also share with them where they can see themselves in your organization as it grows. You see, and I've done this a number of times. You're sharing with people when it grows, when we are building people, we are facilitating team building. Yes, somebody, what if this organization grew 10 times? Where would you see yourself? What if it grew 50 times? Yeah, would you be at the same level? And then they start exploding their thoughts and they grow in that particular vision. Thank you for sharing. Yes, somebody else. Yeah, I've spoken a little more.
Thank you very much, PP.
Yeah, you're welcome. Somebody else would like to give a comment based on what we just read or what we are discussing. Yeah, I know some people will say they came a little later, but you can say something. Rachel, I believe this is Rachel, the finance person. Is that true, Rachel? Yes, Catherine, say something.
Okay, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, good morning.
So mine is just to add a comment to what the previous contributor, maybe I don't know his name, has said.
Muridi,
and I was just listening. Oh, so Anthony. So I was just listening into it and thinking from an employee perspective and why maybe you are trying to share the vision, but they don't see the same vision. And especially if they are not doing what they are meant to do and you touch on the money, money is very sensitive. So it's just trying to see, sometimes you can have a vision, but if people don't feel like they are part of your team, or maybe because that one just shows that they don't see themselves there for the long haul. So it's just trying to see what are the values that you have, and as P has said, it's also what drives them. And you know, for you, you might think that maybe if you don't do this, I'm going to touch on the money becomes very sensitive. So maybe you can define another parameter around, if you don't do this, how do you work it out? And also maybe as you look at your performance appraisals, does the vision sit in? Does what you believe in sit in? Are they the ethos of the company? When somebody comes in, what do they see in that company? So you just try and build the visuals around so that people start buying into it, people start living it, and you also embody the same vision so that somebody says, I would really want to grow in this company. I know where the company is going to, So it becomes quite clear that people can tell this is where we are going. And maybe I joined a bit late. I did have part to see part of the reading, but I think what happens and what everybody needs to work on is just your personal vision. What are you doing day to day? And how can you be able to improve it? And this is an area that we keep learning every day. And for me, when you have been reading this book, what has been challenging me is every time we talk about the legacy, what would your legacy be? What would your eulogy be about it? And just trying to see how do you align yourself. And this becomes from all the way from home, community, and even at the office, so that you can be able to build a person, a whole 360 around the vision that you have. Thank you. That's my contribution for today.
Yeah, thank you, Catherine. Thank you. You know, you've gone to maybe some of the funerals, and when they read the eulogy, you wonder whether that is the same person that you knew. Yeah. So I love that element of it's all around. That's your social life, your career life, your family life, all over should be synced. Just bringing you up to speed, the things that we read today about it's about ensuring that our legacy lives on. And one of them was mission. Mission is that problem that we think we are called to solve on earth. We are called to contribute towards that particular mission. That becomes our life mission. Have we first and foremost identified that life mission? Because you're not likely to have any legacy. You're going to have just any other life that everybody else is living if you are not moving with a particular mission. If you do not have that self-drive, you know, when you get that particular mission that resonates with you, there will be a lot of conviction, a lot of commitment, and you will be unstoppable. That gives you the momentum. So we've got to be in that particular space where we know our mission and we are moving towards it and we are working on it. And then, and that becomes our personal contribution to the society. And the next thing we talked about was just that of sharing vision, because we've talked about this mission thing and even vision when we were starting the book. We talked about how to identify personal mission and things like that, and why we need vision. And so here we want to perpetuate it. And so we've got to share the vision. We've got to ensure that other people are infected by the very same enthusiasm. And we love to say that if you are passionate about something, you are more likely to infect some other people with that particular passion, that particular enthusiasm. And that becomes their passion as well. It becomes part of their mission as well, part of their vision. And that's how we build organizations. That's the example I was giving about Bill Baines. And we talked about self-perpetuation. You can create systems. We gave an example of Nobel Prize. We have Nobel Prizes, a number of them. And the moment people hear that this is a Nobel Prize winner, whether it's peace or mathematics or whatever, or chemistry, people feel like that's quite somebody. But it was started by the same person, Nobel. So what are systems that we can put in place that will be able to ensure that our legacy lives on? It's not terminated the moment our lives come to an end. So setting up systems and structures to enable it to keep going on. If you are talking of a foundation, it should not be a foundation that will only run because you're there. It should run well after you, perpetuated. The same thing can happen with the values that you instill in people, the culture that you, your contribution in terms of culture, education system, whatever, anything that you choose, wherever you're called to. And that's why we still have Christianity 2000 plus years later. because there was an institution that was set up. And then we talked about exactly what you've said, the daily habits. What are these things that we are doing deliberately to ensure that we have a legacy, a solid legacy when we're done? And by the way, fulfillment comes when we give this contribution. And we were saying that these daily habits contain your values, your identity. You cannot be two people at the same time. The daily, whatever we are going to do every day. I can see a friend here who works with the government, went to work with the government, and she was telling me that systems are so slow and things are just not moving, not the way she was used to doing things in the private sector. And so she feels disappointed. She feels like that doesn't give her enough motivation. Yeah, that is what we are talking about. You look at your identity, you look at your values, you are put somewhere and you feel like, this is not where I belong. I need to move on. And that becomes you. You form your own identity, your values guide you. You remember some of you were with me the other day on Thursday when we were talking about, when we were discussing with Dr. Mutua and the other panelists, Charles Kanjama and the rest, about the culture of integrity. And Charles Kanjama was talking about the 3 V's: value, virtue, and vision. So these values that form part of our daily habits, daily activities, and even the work that we do and everything else. And then building other people, talking about how we can develop people who will carry it forward. And we've seen this, we've given lots of examples before, seeing some organizations go down immediately, the founder is no more. We do not want such a thing to happen. So we've got to ensure that there is proper succession system, succession structure that takes place. And those are the 5 things that we've talked about in ensuring that our legacy lives on. So maybe at this particular point, somebody has something to say. Dr. Eda, you want to say something? Oh, you're just writing.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. We're doing well.
Yes, sorry, I joined late. I forgot it's a public holiday and I kind of forgot about it. Yeah, I always will go back to the basic unit of society, and that is the family. And I think the family is the basic unit of society, and all problems in the society can be traced back to the family. So even the family being the most important institution in the society needs a vision and a mission. And this happens in the young person long before they meet somebody, long before they get married, because those classes that you're having 3 months towards the wedding, I don't think that's anything near an adequate preparation for this lifelong mission, which is a calling from God. And so we call this the family project, and this is instilling the values and the virtue in the young person so that they themselves get to know what their vision and mission is in life and what their purpose, God-given purpose is, because marriage and parenting is a calling from God to for the good of the spouses and the procreation and education of children unto eternal life. And so there's no other more important mission than this, and yet there's no school for it except the family that you came from, which could have been dysfunctional. So you need to know the purpose of marriage. Otherwise, if you don't know the purpose of marriage and family, then you're bound to misuse it. And so I always tell young people that this is the God-given purpose of marriage, and it's a calling. It's not just something unangukia to. And the woman is looking for somebody that she's going to submit to according to the Bible, according to my Christian values. And the man is looking for a helper. So if you're getting into a relationship for the wrong reasons, then everything is bound to fall apart, because you are joining this man as a helper. But if he doesn't have a vision and mission for his own life, if he hasn't healed from his childhood wounds, and he doesn't know what his purpose is in life, you know, he actually, your husband represents God. That's how serious the mission is. So if you're not married to the leader that he's supposed to be, then everything is going to fall apart. So this family project of people healing from their childhood wounds, knowing the purpose that God designed marriage and family for, and then two people coming together who are emotionally, spiritually healthy. They know what their vision and mission is and what the purpose of marriage is and how they're going to go about it. Then all these marriages that are failing would not be happening. So yeah, you align your purpose with the purpose of the person who you've met. And if you're going to build a life together, you're supposed to be discussing this vision and mission together. Unfortunately, you find most people become sexually active. They're not really friends. They're not intimate spiritually or emotionally, because they became physically intimate. Then the baby comes. Then you try to start a family from there, which is a very wrong foundation. Yeah, so thanks for letting me share.
Thank you very much for bringing that aspect. You remind me that we always talk about right reasons and wrong reasons to get married. And we also talk about vision, mission in the family, values in the family, in building a family culture, and things like that. Thank you. Thank you. You're really passionate about the same, and that is good. That becomes your legacy. So we have a few minutes left. Maybe somebody has a question or a comment, or somebody wants to share with us what does he or she do in building his or her legacy. Any comment? We have about 6 minutes. Aloysius, are you working on your legacy? What contribution would you like to give us?
Yeah, I'm always challenged when I come here. So I've started, even instead of building my legacy, I've started realizing purpose, vision, slowly. So I cannot really jump to the legacy before I understand my purpose. It's like I'm realizing who I am and what I can do best, because really I have been doing a lot of things, but without identifying really what is my purpose. So after identifying that, because from my childhood, really I have done a lot, but doing it just per se without knowing what am I supposed to do, why was I created. So I am here to understand and also conceptualize, so that at least I can touch lives before I leave this world. At least I leave my legacy behind. Thank you. And I'm ready to learn from you guys. It is just a blessing to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. You're on the right track. You know, most of us choose a career path based on what we are advised by our seniors, our parents, uncles, whoever, or what we think has more money. And that becomes a problem. And that makes us hollow. Dr. Eda is a living example here. She will probably tell that story another time when you're there again, that because she was brilliant, the parents insisted that she's got to be a doctor. Yeah. And that was not where her heart was. And she did not find a lot of fulfillment in doing that, but she did it anyway, finished, qualified, started practicing, but ultimately had to go to where her passion was, and that is in counseling, psychology, and all that. So by the end of the end, I've had people who finish their courses and then they go and give their certificates to their parents. I've done this. Now, will you allow me to do what I would like to do? You see, so it's good. You're on the right track, trying to find out whom you are, about you, self-awareness, and then from there you will be able to identify what is it that you are created for. And I love to say that, for example, in our Catholic faith, we are taught that God made us to know him, to love him, to serve him. Now that is where we need to underline, to serve him and ultimately to rejoice with him in heaven. So the question is, how do we serve him? And the answer, as far as I'm concerned, is through the calling. If you read the early books of the Bible, Exodus, you realize that when the tent of meeting was being constructed, the vestment, the Ark of the Covenant, and all these other things, God instructed Moses about whom was to do this, who had been endowed with special skills and capacities to be able to do the same. All of us are always built for that which we are supposed to do. And you read from Jeremiah, we read that I knew you before you were born and I formed you for this particular purpose. The same thing we see in every other place. So get to know that all of us are endowed naturally for that which we are supposed to be and do our contribution. And that is how we are going to serve humanity and God. Thank you very much. Any final comment? We may have 2 minutes.
Hello?
Yes, Dr. Eda.
Yeah, even the Bible says that the job that God had created us to do was prepared for us before even the foundation of the world. Can you imagine? And
Yes.
he has endowed us with every grace and blessing to do that work. So the function of parents is to help this child to actually become the person who they were created to be, not to become a version of what they themselves want. But because this child already has in their DNA, long before the foundation of the world, what God wanted them to do, and the work was already prepared for them, according to Ephesians 1:1. So it's for us to nurture this child into be the best version of themselves and who they were created to be, to solve whatever problem God wanted them to solve. And they have been endowed with every grace and blessing to do so. So it's just for us to bring out the best in this child through our nurturing love, our unconditional love, and raising them in a functional family that helps to socialize them to be the best version of themselves, into self-actualization according to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Yeah, thanks for letting me share.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much for that particular contribution. Good. I think we are good to go unless somebody has a comment, a question. We can be good to go. Anybody with a comment or a question? Yes. Anybody wants to say hi? Just to let you know, if you are not yet in our Power Monday WhatsApp group, that we have a group that you can join. You just need to side chat me and you will be part of the team, getting more of the conversation in the course of the week. So welcome all the people who've probably joined us for the first time. I'm not sure who. Maybe Christine Sadia. You can say hello if you are in a position to do that.